Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. We got some huge news that just came out of the SEC versus Ripple case. So if we come over here, James K. Fallon says Judge Torres modifies proposed calendar. Motions to exclude expert testimony must be fully briefed by August 30th of 2022. Motions for summary judgment must be fully briefed by November 15th of 2022. So a lot of the timeline stuff has stretched down. And remember, we were talking about in our past video that based on how everything was laid out, they were saying best case scenario was going to be in I think it was March of 2023. So this is some massive news in regards of, the XRP community, the Ripple and XRP investors, and just the entire crypto space in general. So we could see, a conclusion to this Ripple versus SC case by the end of this year, which is absolutely massive. But going through the rest of the video, we're going to be taking a look at Jeremy Hogan's perspective on this updated news. Fred put up a great tweet thread about like his position on how he feels about what news has been released and how it's going to affect this timeline. I'm going to be taking a look at Jungle Eats tweet thread here, Johnny Deaton's, and then we're going to be taking a look at this right here. This is from CoinDesk. It says U.S. lawmakers reintroduce bill to give CFTC crypto spot market oversight. And in that regard, there was a video here that Digital Asset Investor had put up, and this is Patrick McHenry, and he has a great viewpoint of why the SEC and CFTC shouldn't be the ones to regulate this space. We need to have a separate, entity or separate organization and group that is specializing within the crypto space. So we're going to go into this conversation that he has here. Also, there's some more updates from Cointelegraph here. It says Panama's legislative approves bill regulating crypto. The NFT sector is projected to move around 800 billion over the next 2 years. And then the hash rate says Bitcoin network hash rate hit a new record high amid price volatility. So quickly, before we get into all that, we're going to come over here and take a look at CoinGecko. We're currently sitting at a $1.91 trillion market cap, currently up 0.7%. If we come down here and take a look at Bitcoin, we're still battling, trying to get above that 40,000 level. Let me come in here and click on this so we can look at it real quick. So as you can see here, I mean, we kind of we've been battling that range. And I know a lot of the TA guys are talking about, the breaking this 40,000 and getting to like the 43, 44 range and yada, 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 all that TA stuff. But it's just like, as you can see, there's still a lot of market uncertainty. And if we come over here into the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently sitting at a 24, up 3 points from yesterday. But we're still in this extreme fear range, which we've been living in, the past few months. So obviously, there's a lot of market uncertainty. There's a lot of different narratives going on, a lot of different things going on, in our world. So obviously, it's not just our market that's being affected. It's markets around the world. So coming over here, obviously, we talked about this James K. Fallon update, which is absolutely massive. And I want to thank James K. Fallon for putting this up. Jeremy Hogan has his perspective on this. He says, oh, that's a pleasant surprise. Judge Torres has, it's this sua sponte, fancy Latin for because she wants to and can, moved up the schedule for summary judgment briefs to November 15th. What do I take from that? She wants the Ripple versus SC case over by Christmas, so in December, which should be absolutely massive. Coming down here, I wanted to read a couple of these. This from RD says, "Hi Jeremy, is this likely to put any timeline pressure on the SEC for settlement purposes?" And Jeremy Hogan says, "The most likely time for a settlement of any case is between the end of discovery and the filing of depositive motions. In our case, that is basically any time from now until September 13th. And then XRP Philly says, won't it take her 3 months or so to actually rule on these motions? Jeremy Hogan says, in the past, Judge Torres has taken up to 3 months to rule on similar motions, but there's not reason she has to take that long. If this was my case, I would assume and tell my client that the judge wants to clear this case off her docket by the end of the year. 45 days is enough time. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, when I saw this, I got like super excited. Obviously the shortened timeline in comparison and going into 2023. I mean, obviously we're going to feel good about it, especially being investors in, XRP and Ripple and so on. So this is absolutely positive. I want to come over here and take a look at Fred's little response here in this tweet thread. He says, Judge Torres' order from James K. Fallon is great news. It has changed my timeline estimates. Remember, litigation changes fast, so new facts equals new evaluation. First, I love how Judge Torres didn't rubber stamp the timeline proposed by the parties. I did not expect that at all. He continues down here, he says, second, settlement before SJ, summary judgment, has now increased to a 50% probability from 20% for me. Why? Judge Torres rocketed up the expert witness motion deadline. It was supposed to be same as summary judgment scheduled by parties. This is critical because expert testimony will account for 75% of how this lawsuit ends. With expert issues done by summary judgment, all parties will have a better understanding of their chances at summary judgment and, if necessary, trial. Crushing blows or victories on what a party's expert can testify to will significantly impact litigation strategy. Crippling losses by the SEC on this front will really put the leverage. It says crippling losses by SEC on this front will really put the leverage on SEC to settle. And now this will be front loaded before summary judgment decision. Obviously, a bad decision can hurt Ripple, but its experts are top notch, and SECs are the quote, "well, say anything for money" type. So he ends there. It says, lastly, Attorney Jeremy Hogan noted, "I think summary judgment reply deadline does mean Judge Torres plans on wrapping up summary judgment before 2023 starts, which has shaved 3 to 4 months off my timeline. This is an outcome I'm glad to have been wrong on. Woohoo." So Jeremy Hogan says, "This is first time she hasn't rubber stamped a deadline. Caught me off guard. Also, Fred, he says, I'm glad she chose this one to get involved in." I mean, this is so much positivity and good news to come out. So obviously, can't get our hopes up, and we don't want to get overly excited, but it's like we're gonna stay level headed. But this is a positive. We got to take the wins when we can get them. I wanted to touch on this right here. This is from Jungle Inc. And he got a good kind of a viewpoint on things here. This is before all the good news came out. It says Gary Gensler needs a big headline in settlement money. Ripple needs to IPO. SEC can't explicitly say Ripple's sales of XRP are not a security offering without eviscerating their authority over the remaining tokens. How they craft an acceptable settlement for both ? So when I read this, I think about what Johnny Deaton was talking about. He's like, and there we have a crossroads. So we're pretty much at the crossroads now. So obviously we have an update in regards of a shortened timeline, which is absolutely positive, which can apply pressure to this whole settlement talk and whatsoever. Even if Ripple's even tickling or considering settling at this point, obviously they seem like, based on the evidence, they seem to have a lot of leverage and power on their side in that regard. And obviously we don't have all the facts, but based on what we see and what we've been hearing from these attorneys in our industry and in our community, I think a lot of us are getting the vibe that Ripple is pretty much in a solid position. So yeah, this is quite interesting. It's just kind of more just more food for thought to kind of lean you towards that. We could potentially see a settlement coming. There's a lot of things riding on this. Coming over here, Johnny Deaton had this, and I thought this was pretty interesting. He says, "Can you read between the lines? Hanneman and the SEC were saying one thing publicly, but behind closed door, it was an quote interesting welcome that we got privately." So he says, "We're in Hinman today." He's at A16Z. He says 15 million while at SEC, then partner at the largest crypto and Web3 fund in the world. So he's obviously all of us have been tracking all this ETHgate scandal stuff, Ethereum Free Pass, the Ripple versus SC case, and just being involved in this whole thing, and being involved in the timeline, being involved in the community. We all know this stuff, but I think it's quite interesting, like how he lays everything out in just like a simple to read format like this, and it kind of gives perspective on a lot of things. It's crazy. It's like, how is our congressmen and women, and how is our government allowing this to happen? And it's surfaced. Like, it's not like it's a secret and no one's talking about it. It's here. It's all over the place. We're talking about it on a daily schedule, and we're just one small channel. There's hundreds of channels and thousands of people out there retweeting, liking, sharing, commenting. There's so much going on, but it's like little to no action outside of the Johnny Deaton in the class action lawsuit, Empower Oversight, Jason Foster, and then obviously Ripple and them defending themselves in their case. And I mean, there's really not many major players out there that are helping the issue, which is kind of crazy. Coming over here, I thought this was interesting too. He says, "Say what you want about Joseph Lubin, but it was a smart move to hire lawyers from Clayton's law firm. The deputy GC of Consensus and a co-chair of the Brooklyn Project was hired from Sullivan and Cromwell." Here's another one. So if I come back here, I think I had it down here. He says, "It is tragically sad. It's a sad thought to think, what if Ripple was rushed to immediately place Sullivan and Cromwell on retainer immediately upon Clayton's nomination or confirmation? Would we be here today?" It's an interesting question. I mean, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think we, if the roles were flipped and Ripple were to take that approach, would we be in this position that we're at today? But I mean, I can see what he's saying. Like, outside of the ethics and not the thought of being caught. Like Joseph Lubin and all parties involved, I mean, they kind of were smart to do what they did, but it's like the truth is out, and we have the truth on our side, and they don't. So it's like it's eventually the truth will come out. Continuing on here, this is from CoinDesk says U.S. lawmakers reintroduce bill to give CFTC crypto spot market oversight. The Digital Commodity and Exchange Act would give the regulator direct oversight of some types of crypto transactions and exchanges. So you can come here and read through this, but it's like yada, yada, yada. It just brings up the conversation that I brought up. It was a bunch of videos ago, but I was just talking about like how I just personally, my personal opinion, I just feel like there needs to be a new governing body or a new organization that's specifically tailored for this crypto space because it's new emerging technology. So we can't apply, old rules and old regulations to it because it's so complex and so different. So I truly felt like I think that's how we go forward. We paved the way forward, and yeah, there's going to be some hiccups and some mistakes here and there, but we paved the way forward for this new emerging industry. So it ties straight into what crypto law and digital asset investors are talking about here. So DAI says, I think Patrick McHenry has been watching SC mess. Gary Gensler, the midterms are coming. So Johnny Deaton, his Crypto Law US says, regulatory vision for digital assets from the top Republican, and possible new chairman of the House Banking Committee after the midterms. The committee which has oversight for the SEC and CFTC in the fintech space. So let's take a listen to this and really listen to what he's saying.
So what we have to do is define what is a digital asset. And what I believe is a digital asset is neither fish nor fowl. It is neither a commodity nor a security. Bitcoin is the best embodiment of that. I think you have to have a separate regulatory sphere for digital assets that is neither the SEC nor the CFTC. And it's Congress's role that we have to define a digital asset because there is no federal definition now, number one. And number two, we have to give it a regulator or a home. And that is Congress's job and role here. And I fundamentally think that the Securities Exchange Commission and the CFTC lack that capacity to well regulate this new innovation. So what we have to do is define what.
So I mean, I think he hit it on the head, and I truly feel that way. And obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know all the technicals and all that stuff. But it's like just from the outside looking in, based on the information I got and just my time in the space since 2017. Like I truly feel like that's the best approach. And like I said, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. There's going to be some hiccups. But like if they do their best to get the solid people that are ethical, that truly understand the space, you get a solid group of people that can build an organization that's specifically tailored for our space. I think we'll have a better and higher likelihood of having a lot of success and prosperity within the entire crypto market, which is huge. Coming over here, I thought this was pretty cool. This is from Ryan Paul. He says, Fidelity added Bitcoin to 401ks, put pressure on Charles Schwab and Vanguard. Just these three alone have 20 trillion in assets under management. Do the math. So Johnny Deaton says, some might describe that pressure as institutional FOMO. So the reason why I'm talking about this, so obviously we talked about, Fidelity offering, for Bitcoin to their 401k accounts. I guess they could put up to like 20%. And I think I'm losing the name. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy were the first, I guess they're the first pilots to actually run this out in regards of their employees rolling the Bitcoin, being able to be in their 401ks. But I think this is quite interesting because we talk about how early we are in this space and how much money and capital is waiting on the sidelines. So as you see more and more adoptions happening, day by day, month by month, year by year, just this alone, we are currently, let me come over here. We are currently in a $1.9 trillion market cap. Okay. So really remember that here. So as we come back here, if this number is correct, we're talking about Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and Vanguard. If there's truly 20 plus $trillion assets under management, and there's a lot of capital, this is just almost in a sense a fragment or a speck on the chart type thing in regards of the world, the globe, and how much money is really just waiting on the sidelines. So it's things like this that just makes me really excited about the space. We're talking 20 trillion. Not saying all 20 trillion is going to come in, but it's like as the domino tiles keep falling and that momentum keeps happening, adoption keeps happening, that rate increases, more trust and faith in the space will get the regulatory clarity this space needs, so everyone knows how to move forward in regards of blockchain development, crypto asset development, and just their utility and use case, and you bring in more people, workers into the space to increase innovation and production, bringing more faith. So, those millions and billions and trillions of dollars just sitting on the sideline waiting for some regulation to come in. This 20 trillion, we're going to see this 20 trillion on these charts, on our CoinGeckos and our CMCs and so on, which is crazy to think. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. And I agree with this. This might be described as pressure, as institutional FOMO. It's like, okay, well, we're not the first ones to get in, but we're definitely not going to be the last. So it's going to be like a race. And as you can already see, we got two countries that officially have said Bitcoin is legal tender. So it's just a matter of time before more and more countries start doing it, which is crazy. All right, moving on here. This says Panama's legislator approves bill regulating crypto. The crypto law is aimed at making Panama, quote, compatible with the digital economy, blockchain, crypto assets, and the internet. Super positive. And this is more stuff I'm talking about. Just dominoes keep falling, keep applying that momentum, just more adoption. Obviously, we talk about a lot of NFT stuff, metaverse stuff, and NFTs being in the mainstream has kind of been the hot topic, I want to say, for over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. NFT sector is projected to move around 800 billion over the next 2 years. This is a report. I think they only had like under 1,000 people surveyed, but it says more than 50% of respondents highlighted that they have a hodl mentality and see a future where non-fungible tokens can be important items in games. I know there's a lot of people out there that are kind of iffy about NFTs. I was for a long time because I never really dove in and educated myself. It wasn't until about, I want to say, almost a year ago that I really started like looking into it. And like once you really understand like what the capabilities are with NFTs and what you can do with them, and the worthwhile and value that they have, I mean, it makes total sense. And it's crazy because like a lot of people are like, well, why would I want this digital product, or, when I can screenshot it, or I can have something hard. It's like, okay, long story short, just go ahead and dive in and do your research. Just look into it. See what, people that are actually developing things, and see how they view things. Don't just go based on, what or how you feel. Like if you truly have reservations about something, if you don't want to get into it, that's cool. But if you truly have reservation about something, a lot of that comes from, insecurity or lack of not knowing. So it's like go in and read more and view videos and listen to people that kind of know what they're talking about in that regard. Because I truly feel, based on the information I have, I see the value and worthwhile in NFTs. And clearly you could see crazy stuff from like, obviously, CryptoPunks. You got the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which has been absolutely massive. If you haven't checked out Bored Ape Yacht Club stuff, go ahead and research what they've been doing and how successful they've been, which is crazy. But I'm going to say this. I think they are clearly one of the top NFT projects, but I think where we're at with NFTs is just literally a speck on the chart right now, or on the graph. Literally. The NFT sector within the crypto space is going to be absolutely massive. It's crazy. I'm going to go on. I can talk about that for a while. So I want to end on this from Cointelegraph. It says Bitcoin network hash rate hit a new record high amid price volatility. Bitcoin network hash rate hit a new record high, seeing a 400% increase since the mining ban by China last year. So as you can see, I mean, I'm not one to, do the TA thing. I do like to look at certain charts and hear people's perspective on kind of what they're showing. But like on-chain and data and analytics and stuff, I think is absolutely massive because it shows you what's actually happening. So, men lie, women lie. But then when you look at like charts and facts in regards of on-chain analytics. So when things happen in the crypto space, when it comes to blockchain, it's on the blockchain. So you can verify what transaction happened, who's moving what, who's selling what. Obviously, you won't know, who all the wallet holders are. But in regards of the numbers, it makes sense why people value these things. And I'm one of those people. But to know that, amid all of the market volatility, the bad narratives, crypto's going to die, Bitcoin's trash, and yada, yada, yada. If you look at, on-chain analytics and the data, and you look at, the amount of adoption that's been happening, it's the writing's on the wall. There's truly nothing to be fearful of. I think the only thing that we should be fearful of if you're throwing, all your life savings and all your money to sustain a life into it, because it's like, yeah, that's scary. But it's like if we're smart about how we invest and we only put in what we're so-called willing to lose, not saying that we want to lose it, but having that mentality, it's like if all were to fail and Bitcoin and crypto were to be nothing like a lot of the haters say out there, and it was all go to zero, it's like you were willing to lose that in a sense, you know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be as bad. But with all that being said, it's just like the writing's on the wall with this space, and I am super excited. There's so much positivity and light within all of these dark times and all the negativity that we've been dealing with over the past, like, I want to say what, like 6 months? I think it's about 4 to 6 months. It's been absolutely crazy. It's just a matter of time for this space to really set off to where we see this thing in the double digits and in regards to the trillions. It is so exciting. But yeah, I'm going to reiterate for the XRP community out there, the Ripple holders, XRP holders, this is absolutely massive. We can see this case end this year. Congratulations. We're going to continue to follow this. I'm going to continue to update you. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.